Have you ever noticed this strange pattern in the story of Jesus? Everywhere he goes, these massive crowds just appear. And they're not there because he's promising them wealth or power. They're there because they're desperate. And the word is out, there's a man in Galilee who can do the impossible. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if the real point wasn't just the spectacle of the miracle itself? This one question, it changes everything. It forces us to look past the supernatural and into the heart of the people who came and the heart of the one they were coming to see. Just try to picture it. The people flocking to him, they're broken. Their bodies are failing them. For so many, the pain isn't just physical. Their minds are trapped in a kind of suffering they can't even name, let alone escape. They are just worn down, bone-tired from a pain that no doctor could cure and no priest could explain. This wasn't some casual gathering. It was a mass movement of pure desperation. And to really get why so many people would risk absolutely everything just to reach him, you have to understand the world they were living in. It was not a peaceful, idyllic place. I mean, this place was a pressure cooker. You had people getting squeezed financially, oppressed politically, and feeling totally abandoned spiritually. There was this constant, low-grade hum of hopelessness that touched literally everyone. And what's wild is that this hopelessness, it crossed every border. People were coming from Syria, the Decapolis, Judea, all these places that were often divided by culture and politics, but they were united by something much more powerful, their shared pain. Sickness and fear, they don't really care about your background. And right into the middle of this wounded world, Jesus walks. But he doesn't show up like a general with an army or some politician making big promises. He comes as a teacher, a preacher of this new kind of kingdom, and as a healer of the broken. The gospel writer Matthew says something so simple but so absolutely astonishing. Think about who was actually in that crowd. The religiously important people? Nope. The rich and powerful? They weren't seeking him out. No, it was the outcasts, the forgotten, the ones nobody else had time for. And the text says he healed them all. He didn't turn a single broken person away. Okay, but here's the tension in the story that I think a lot of us miss. Jesus didn't travel all over Galilee just to run a mobile health clinic. The healings, they were serving a much, much deeper purpose. You see, there was this disconnect. The crowds, and you can't blame them, they just wanted the pain to stop. They wanted their bodies fixed, right now. But Jesus was offering something infinitely bigger, a rescue from the brokenness of the world itself, a rescue from sin and being separated from God. And that's the key. You have to get this. Every single miracle was like a sign on the side of the road, pointing toward a final destination. The problem was, the crowds were so focused on the sign, they often missed where it was pointing. These weren't just random acts of kindness. They were what you might call prophecy in motion. They were living, breathing previews of a reality that was still to come. So each healing kind of followed this pattern. Step 1, a body is physically restored. But that physical act, that was step 2, a sign that God's kingdom was actually breaking into the present. And that sign was step 3, a powerful preview of a future, fully restored world where God's rule is finally complete. And that's the ultimate message here. Every single healing was a declaration of war against the brokenness of this world. It was Jesus planting a flag, announcing that one day, God's perfect peace and wholeness would cover the entire earth. Sickness and death would not get the last word. So what does all this mean for us, right? Why does a story about crowds in Galilee 2,000 years ago matter in our world today? Well, it matters because the human condition hasn't really changed. We're still desperate for meaning in a world that feels chaotic. We're desperate for forgiveness when we mess up and for restoration in the broken parts of our lives. The reason this story still resonates is because their desperation is our desperation. And so the invitation from Jesus just echoes through the centuries. Come to him. But the challenge for us is the same as it was for them. To come not just for the miracles, not just for what he can fix in our lives, but to come for him. To know the King who heals our hearts now and who will one day heal the whole world forever. So let's just end with this thought. If he walked through your streets today with that same power and that same compassion, what would you bring to him? What brokenness, what pain, what hope would you lay at his feet?